Corruption is the enemy of development and of good governance. It must be got rid of. Both the government and the people at large must come together to achieve this national objective. Good evening and welcome. This is Face the Nation. We meet you again on Wednesday, approximately around 9:38. Thank you very much for joining us on the show tonight. Tonight, our topic of discussion revolves around the justice aspect in terms of bankrupting the nation. Joining us this evening tonight on the show are Harshan Rajakarna, Member of Parliament from the Samajana Balavagia, Dr. Ajit Amar Singh, Chairman of the United Republic Front, Attorney at Law Nuwan Bopage, representing the Frontline Socialist Party, as well as Chinnaya Ratnavadivel, Central Committee Member of the Ilangai Tamil Arasu Katchi. To pose questions from our panelists tonight, on to my immediate right is Shania Darigam, on to my immediate left is Attorney at Law Charlotte Benedict. You could also pose your questions on the number 076-656-5353. You can either direct it via an SMS or via WhatsApp. The number once again, 076-656-5353. So let's get the ball rolling today with Harshan Rajakarna, Member of Parliament of the Samajana Balavagia. What are your thoughts with regard to justice being meted out for those who have bankrupted our nation?
So, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me for this program once again. Being a member of the Parliament, I think it was myself and a few other MPs got together from the opposition actually to request for a parliamentary select committee. As far as I can remember, it was about 6 to 7 months ago. We got signatures from most of the opposition members and handed it over to the Speaker. And it was announced last parliamentary week, the committee members, and surprisingly, the government had 9 members and the opposition only had 5 members. And it was a government MP, Sagar Karivasam, who was the chair of the committee. So we raised a point in Parliament a few times that it was very unfair that the correct representation was not given to the opposition, and also it was the SLPP secretary, the governing party, main political party secretary, who has been appointed as the chair. So we really wanted to, we believe that the Parliament has the authority when it comes to financial matters, and that it is a duty of the Parliament to investigate and make sure who is responsible for bankrupting the nation, whether it's the political leaders, from ministers of finance, or it's the officers in charge. So unfortunately, we as a opposition party, where we had few members, decided to get out of this committee, which we think would not make any difference.
So you said there were 4 members from the opposition represented in this committee in question, 5 members.
5 members.
Out of which 2 members are from the SJB, right? 3 members are
from the SJB.
Iran, yourself,
JVP, and one...
And Shanakin from the TNA as well. So it was, they remain in the committee in question, or all 5 have withdrawn?
So the SJB MPs, myself, Ashok Abe Singh, and Iran Vikramaratne, all 3 as we have withdrawn from the committee, and Vijay Herat announced that he has also withdrawn. So Shanakian, when I spoke to him personally, he said that they will decide when they meet, because they are all in their electorate. at the moment, and the parliamentary week is meeting next week, and therefore before the parliamentary week they will have their parliamentary group meeting and make a decision on that.
So, Harshan, don't you think that this would have been an ideal platform to find out ways in which why the country has been bankrupt, or do you all just think that this would have been the outcomes of these meetings would be just one-sided and would be just biased?
You really think with Sagara Karyavasam being the chair and 9 government MPs being there compared to 5 opposition MPs, whether we could have a fair investigation on this? I really doubt it.
Very quickly, Harshana, in your opinion, who is responsible? Because if you look at the past, the last 10 years, there was a time in which even the UNP, you are a member of parliament at that time, 2015 to 2019, you all were in power. So don't you think at least somewhat you all should also shoulder the responsibility of where we are now? Because the government is saying that this is not something that happened during the last 2 years, 2019, 2021. It had the ripple effects that really boiled down from 2015 onwards. Do you agree with that claim?
So, I mean, if you think in that sense, I'm sure all governments after 1948 can be responsible. But I believe in the very recent past, there were some crucial decisions that was made by Gotabaya Rajapaksa regime, which affected the economy. For example, as soon as Gotabaya Rajapaksa was elected as the president in 2019 November, there were tax cuts, which we as a country lost about 600 billion rupees per annum, and that continued for 2 years. So about 1,200 billion rupees we lost. That was a significant reason, which also was a main reason where S&P and a few other institutions downgraded us, where we couldn't finance ourselves, and that was the main reason that we couldn't have the income that we should have got. And not only that, where that government pegged the dollar at 203 and fixed it at that price, and also the main reason that they pull out from IMF, where the IMF loans, where they were actually saying continuously that they will never go to IMF. It was the finance minister and so many others who continued saying that they will never get the support of the IMF. So it was few main reasons at that time which led to such a significant, of course, COVID had a huge impact, but those main reasons bankrupt the country.
But Harshana, very quickly before I move on to Dr. Amar Singh, if you look at global powerhouses, let's look at Pakistan for an example. They're suffering at the moment as well.
True.
So if you look at the subcontinent nations, they're not doing that great because of the economic crisis, and we are seeing that happening in the subcontinent regions or nations at the moment. So don't you think Sri Lanka also inevitably fell into this category because of the mismanagement aspects that you spoke about?
No, I totally agree. Globally, the situation is not that great. But however, most of the countries, almost all the countries apart from Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is the only country that got bankrupt, all the other countries managed it pretty well. So yes, I would 100% agree with you that there's a global impact, and globally how the economic crisis definitely was a negative impact for Sri Lanka. But when it comes to other countries, other nations, they somehow managed it.
Right.
Well.
So we'll come back to all that, Harshana, momentarily. Already getting a lot of questions on your opening remarks. You can also join in the conversation on the number 07665655353. You can WhatsApp and also send in via SMS, and we will be delighted to take those questions to the panelists as the show goes along. I now move my attention to Dr. Ajit Amarasinghe, Chairman of the United Republic Front. Dr. Amarasinghe, if you don't mind, just give me some clarity about this new political party. Now, is it an extension of the 43 Brigade of Partly Champika Ranawaka, or what is this party?
It's not an extension of the 43 Brigade. It's actually a new political party with a new political vision. We
But
thought
this is just similar to the Jatik Hilarume, right?
it's not.
It's not, but that's the same party, isn't it?
It's not the same party. It's a new party
Okay.
with new policies. We have a new constitution, and also we have drafted a new manifesto, which actually encompasses most of the aspects of our policy. And this new party is comprising of many professionals at the moment, but also we see a lot of politicians who are in the political arena also joining us. So it's actually a new political party with a new political vision. We thought that we should form this political party because there's a need for a new thinking, new kind of vision.
Old wine in a new bottle.
You can call so, but we are a new wine. It's a new brand.
So the Jatik Hilarume ideologies have not been boiled down, because if you look at your leader of the party, Partly Champika Ranawaka, he is also an ex-Jatik Hilarume member.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of politicians have been in different political parties at different stages, but that does not mean that it's the same person with the same vision.
He has changed.
The vision has to be changed according to the need of the country. What the country needs now is a new leadership, a new vision.
So
And now, especially after the struggle which happened during the past year, the new generation is yearning for a new leadership, and we are forming a platform for this new generation.
sorry to ask you this, Dr. Amarasinghe, right at the start, but I want to give some direction as far as the show is concerned. So the new political party, United Republic Front, is not an affiliated party with the SJB.
No, it's a brand new political party without any affiliation.
Right. So if you look at the last general election, Partly Champika Ranawaka contested under the SJB ticket and got selected to the parliament.
Yes.
So has he left the SJB?
It was an alliance with the SJB.
Right. So has he left the party?
It's not. The SJB was not a political party. It was a political alliance.
Alliance, right. So
I left the political alliance.
he has completely left the alliance.
Yes.
So he has no intention to join hands with either Sajid Premadasa, Ranil Wickremesinghe, or Basil Rajapaksa, or anyone of that sort.
See, as to what's the
correction.
Yes.
SJB is a political party, but Partly Champika Ranawaka was in alliance with the SJB.
Right, okay. So does he have the intention now to join hands with, because now a lot of people are talking about a presidential election. So my question to you is, if there is a presidential election in the near future, would Partly Champika Ranawaka contest independently from the United Republic Front, or join hands with the SJB or Ranil Wickremesinghe? Or
See, in the field of politics,
there are no
very
friends and enemies.
There are no friends and enemies, and it's very difficult to predict as to what would happen in the future. All depends on who would agree and who would align with our policies, and based on that, we may either contest alone or may permanently.
So getting back into the topic today, Dr. Amarasinghe, I pose this question to Harshana as well with regard to the last years that they were in power. How did things work out? Partly Champika Ranawaka, your leader, was a strongman of the UNP-led government at that time. Do you think that he is also responsible for the economic mismanagement of the country, and that is why we are in this situation? Because if you look at it, he was the Minister of Power and Energy, and the crisis that we faced last year, we had 13 hours of long power cuts that was attributed for not constructing new power plants. Let's leave alone the coal issue completely, but there were issues of that sort. There were no new power plants that were built during Party Champika Ranawaka's time as the minister in charge. So do you think that at least he should take a little bit of responsibility? Because we're trying to figure out who's responsible, but we just can't.
See,
you know,
if you look at the economic crisis we are facing now, I would definitely tell you that the current economic crisis was created after 2019. I mean, the country has been chronically ill economically for last few decades, but due to certain wrong decisions that were taken, especially after 2019, the country went into bankruptcy. As Harshana said, the first wrong decision was the tax cut they made. I don't know for what reason, who benefited because of this. So due to the tax cut, the government revenue went down drastically. And to counter that, government started printing money and there was inflation. See, in addition to that, as he said, to keep the dollar rates at a fixed price, they actually drained the dollar reserves, and the country's dollar reserves went down by about 75% in 1 year. So those were the reasons which actually created the acute financial crisis which led to bankruptcy. Country has been going up and down economically during past 40 years. And there were instances where the country was at the brink of bankruptcy, but they went to the IMF at the correct time, took correct measures, and somehow managed the situation so that we never went into bankruptcy. But here what happened was, during the 2019, 20 and 21, is that when the international financial agencies were warning that we would face a bankruptcy, then government did not want to discuss with the IMF, and they were giving a wrong signal to the public just to become popular probably, and saying that there was no need to go to IMF. We have enough money, we have enough dollar reserves, so therefore we can manage our economy. I think the former central bank governor was telling it so loudly. So what happened was, ultimately, we went to IMF after we faced the bankruptcy. This was the first country in the world which went to IMF after becoming bankrupt.
That's not true.
Yes.
Is it because if you look at it in a chronological order, first of all, Gotabaya Rajapaksa announced that he intends to engage with the IMF, and only then Governor Nandalal came onto the scene, and then he declared that they will go for a soft bankruptcy, isn't it, Doctor?
They didn't go to IMF until then, until country became bankrupt.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ajit Amar Singh, Chairman of the United Republic Front. And now move my attention towards Attorney at Law, Nuwan Bopake, Frontline Socialist Party. Tell us, what is your take? Who should be held responsible?
Yeah, in fact, after introduction of neoliberal economy in the year 1978, as to how all the previous rulers taken decisions regarding the economy is very clear. So first of all, I have the direct answer for your question. All those rule this country for last 4 decades are responsible for this. This is not suddenly erupted in the year 2019. So as a country, we need an economic policy. It's very clear. The economic policy is, there's an instinctive link between the politics, the political situation of the country. Now, the recent Aragalaya was the eruption of a political crisis, but it has a direct link with the economic crisis as well. In the year 2022, our sovereign debt was increased up to $56 billion US. So it is actually 119% of the GDP of the country. So why this country was trapped in this kind of debt crisis? We have to think about that. So it is very clear, at the very inception of introduction of the neoliberal economy, the entire situation of the country, the economy and the socio-economic situation of the country was not compatible with that neoliberal economy. As a result of that, at the first instance, what happened, the trade deficit was drastically going up. You know, in first few decades, the government was compelled to borrow loans, sovereign loans, just to iron out that trade deficit issue. Why there was a trade deficit? Because we know our export income was drastically going down and the import level was very high by that time. That is just to maintain the neoliberal economy. What is the neoliberal economy? Neoliberal economy is, that is profit-oriented, market-oriented economy. So there's no room for the benefit of the people, at the same time the social and welfare situation. And as a result of that, this country has slowly fallen into this particular crisis. Therefore, we have to analyze this historically and subjectively. Otherwise, once again, what are the solutions now these parties are giving? Government is proposing parliamentary selected committee. Now, some politicians say, no, we need a new political party, new political thinking. So we heard these kind of things for last 4 decades. But nobody is saying what is the alternative to this particular economic crisis. What is our plan for this economic crisis? All these parties are saying IMF is the solution. What is IMF doing? IMF doing, once again, they are giving 3 billion loan. One of the main reasons for this crisis is this debt crisis, sovereign debt crisis. Once again, they are giving 3 billion loan, US dollars loan. Then can it be resolved, this particular issue? At the same time, the crisis of the rupee crisis. Now actually there are certain institutions that generating rupees to the government. Now what this government doing? Now the Ranil Wickremesinghe doing, for example, distribution of oil. Now they are selling these stations to India and Australia. Now these institutions only generated rupees. Now for rupee crisis, also he doesn't have a solution. For dollar crisis, once again he is obtaining loans. Now certain political parties also saying the only solution is the IMF. So therefore it is very clear, this is a crisis of this existing economic crisis which they have been maintaining for last 4 decades. We need a change, structural change of the system, political system and the economic system. Otherwise, there won't be a solution for this particular issue.
So Nuwan, I think your thoughts in the first round, in your opening remarks, I've written certain points down, so I would like to ask an explanation from you on these fronts. You say that the 1978 opening up the markets to the outside world was the problem that we are in this situation today. What would have been proposed by the FSB in a situation like that?
So we have a direct answer. There is no hesitation. We are saying that socialism is the best solution for this. Socialism means that society-oriented system, not profit-oriented system. But why we are demanding free education?
Tell me countries that have done well through a socialism model?
Yes. Can I say otherwise? What now?
Let's talk about a country that has done well.
Yeah, existing system is the capitalism, profit-oriented system.
Anywhere in the world.
What happened to this earth? What happened to earth? Now there are around 205 countries. Can you point out? You can point out around 20-30 countries who succeeded their economies within this system.
Socialism, tell me what countries have done well.
That's why we are struggling. That is not confined to one country. So all over the world, due to
all over the world, that model has not worked.
Let me to say, all over the world, now there is a debate. What is the alternative for this existing crisis?
Right. Okay, so
no, initially you pointed out certain countries, Pakistan, and when you go to the Africa, when you go to the South America, all the countries, people are suffering in this world. The social disparity is so high. So in a situation like that,
we'll talk about that as well. So because if you look at the models across the world, socialism has not won the battle in terms of what you are proposing. So we'll talk about all that in the other round. Then you spoke about this crisis that we are facing right now. it's easy to point the finger at the UNP or the UPFA or the SLPP or any other political parties. What they say is you all have not ruled the country, so you all don't know the dynamics, how a country has been governed, how the country has been ruled. So in a situation like that, Nuwan, tell me, what do you all propose to do in a situation like that we are in today?
Yes, exactly. If I'm explaining it in very simply, we need a people-oriented economy. For example, the burden of this economy always held by the public, especially 8.5 million workers of this country, working class. But when we think about the decision-making process, they didn't have any room to participate on that. When you think about the fertilizer crisis and all the other crises, the working class and the people who actually take the burden of this economy has not been represented. They have not been given opportunity to participate on this decision-making process. So what we are saying, we need a structural change, new system, people-oriented, just economic system we need. Otherwise, we never will be able to sort it out.
Why do I get the feeling, Nuwan, that you're trying to suggest that it has to be a free lunch for everyone?
No, that's wrong.
That's what you're suggesting?
No, what we need now, for example, in
you're
this economy,
people-oriented economy. What does that mean?
It does mean like this. In this economy, the 5% of the population is getting benefited more than 65% of the economy.
So are you trying to tell me that that organizations like Sri Lankan Airlines, which are making so much of headache to the country's national economy, should be kept with the government?
Now, what is the meaning of the government? Let's assume it's a company. There's a director board. If that director board is not running the company properly,
but that is
then who's responsible?
But that is not the responsibility of governments in power. Governments in power are not supposed to be running businesses.
No, that's why now
you're saying
now your mind
you said
exactly
that the government should not look at profitability.
Exactly. Now
then you're saying that the state-owned enterprises have to be kept with the government.
Now
what is this?
Who taught that lesson to you? Who taught that lesson? The government should not do businesses. Government should not involve in these businesses. Of course, that is the main attribute of neoliberalism. Because if there are certain parties who want profit out of that, why they are selling education? It's not a commodity. It should be a service. Why they are selling other things? So if you are only concerned about the profit, yes, of course you have to sell the Sri Lankan Airlines. If it is a people-oriented economy, you need not to think about the profit. You should not view the priority of the profit. It should be a service. Low cost. What is the main purpose of a airline? Low cost airline for the travel purposes of the people.
We will talk about all
not the profit.
No, let's talk about all this. I think when you're running, you can't run a country like you're running a company. That's point number one. But we'll talk about all this momentarily. I think it's important to get everyone's views on these fronts. Chinnaya Ratnavadivel, a Central Committee member of the Lanka Tamil Rashtra Party. Just a very quick question, Chinnaya, if you don't mind, if I may ask you. Are you all still part of the TNA?
I would say yes and no.
Yes and no. That means you're not. When you say yes and no, that means you're skeptic about it.
What would I like to say is, TNA was the composition of 5 parties originally.
Yes.
And 3 parties, 2 parties, 6 parties actually, 3 parties left long before. And 3 parties were together. That is Telov, Plot, Sitatans and ITAC. ITAC is the main composition of the TNA. TNA was not a registered political party. That was only an alliance. So it could not contest in elections as TNA. So the dominant Ilangai Tamilarsu Katchi's symbol was accepted by all right throughout, from the time it was started. So it contested elections on that platform, and they have been winning elections right throughout. And last time we won 11 seats. Okay, but now these two political parties left TNA, Plot and Tello. They left the TNA, but they claim ITAC left because they contested. I mean, they decided. ITAC decided during the local government elections that.
So can I just say very quickly, just to get some clarity on this, y'all are on the fence.
Not on the fence, but in fact, you may say because TNA is the.
No, because when you look at it, like members of parliament like Mrs. Sumandiran are taking the center stage when it comes to the activities of the TNA now.
Yes.
I can't see anyone from the ITAC coming into play because you all were a political party that had 22 seats in parliament at one point. And now it has come to 11. So that means the people are rejecting you all.
No, I wouldn't say people are rejecting it.
Then what's
But
happening?
there are
the numbers have to increase if that's the case.
There are some extreme views of the situation. The current ENA or ITAC has been moderate all the time, and they have been negotiating with governments after governments, and nothing tangible was achieved. So the people are frustrated. Actually, you take the whole number
of... Are you saying, Chinna, that extremist views have to be there just to gain political mileage?
The frustrated views.
Frustrated views?
Frustration of the people.
That? 2009, the war ended. You want to have frustrated views right now. You are putting a wound to the conflict that has already ended in the country.
No. What happened was...
You all also have to contribute to the country's economic situation, don't you think so?
We have
Look
to.
Look at where we are today.
We have to. There is no doubt about that.
I'm glad you're accepting it.
Yes, but what happened soon after the war was, the people were frustrated because we were supposed to be a moderate party, as I told you earlier, and we have been negotiating from
scars left behind by the conflict has to be healed. Just because you have frustrating views and put something to spark that wound is not going to be the answer.
No. I mean, I don't want to go back to the
that is
situation. No. The frustration comes up not during the war, but this has been coming from the time of independence. I mean, we have the Tamil population has been negotiating. They have been signing agreements. They have been given promises and all that right after. Year after year and government after government, but nothing tangible has been happening, and that is why the militant groups rose, and the militant groups was also crushed. That was crushed also, and following that, so the people feel what are we to do? So
are you saying that there are militant groups in the country?
No. There are.
Then what are you suggesting?
No, the militant activities also failed. No,
yeah.
That was also failed.
No, that didn't fail. That was crushed and eliminated in the country.
Okay, how whatever from your point of view, it was eliminated, but the people think it was crushed. Okay, but anyway, whatever it is no more, and people have now accepted. Whoever in the north and east have accepted to go. For a peaceful solution and under a united Sri Lanka. That is now we don't want to revive whatever happened during the war time. That is all finished. That is a chapter. That is closed. So now what we are trying to do is to go in the passive way,
right.
And we are still doing that. And this cause, but there are some people, they blame some political parties. They blame you are not strong enough. You have to negotiate with the government. with unrealistic terms. But that is taking root in some places, in some areas, in some few people, in people. So they vote for them. So that is also that is the contributing factor why the ITAC did not gain enough seats. But we see this is the best path to go.
Right. Thanks, Chinmay Ratnavadivel, Central Committee member of the ITAC. Based on what you're saying, of course, it seems that the ITAC is completely out of the TNA. There is no yes and no.
No. We are not aware, but
Not yet.
not yet.
After this session.
We claim that they left the party.
Right.
They left TNA,
Right.
but we remain in TNA.
Right, very good.
Yes.
So let's talk about all this and more. Chinnaya was momentarily. Onto my immediate right is Chinnaya. Onto my immediate left is Attorney at Law Shalan. Shalan, with your permission, may I?
Definitely.
Okay, yes, Chinnaya.
Harshna, I wanted to sort of take your attention back to your opening statement. You spoke of a select committee and that it's the duty of the parliament to find out culpability for, who is responsible for bankrupting the nation. But my question is, okay, so what happens next? What happens after a report is published? What happens after the parties involved have been made apparent to the public? How would it help our redevelopment process?
So, the Parliament Select Committee, once it's finalized, it's tabled to the Parliament. So it's then you have a debate on that, and then it's up to the Speaker to send it to the Attorney Generals, and then from there they will go to courts, or it's a process that should take place from Attorney Generals at the end. So, I mean, the biggest thing is to actually find out and come to a conclusion. And then, of course, I agree that it should go to courts, and then the legal process has to start. I mean, we all know the main reasons, but it is difficult even when you put a court case.
So in a political climate like in Sri Lanka, would those responsible actually face any kind of charge?
I mean, by the looks of it, it's very, very seldom. I mean, unfortunately, we really wanted to have a fair investigation to actually even to form a committee. If there's no will to have a independent committee, it's very difficult to do a thorough investigation, unfortunately.
But Mr. Rajakarna, now you spoke about the constituency of this, the members of this committee that was appointed. You said there are 9 members from the government and only 5 members from the opposition. But correct me if I'm wrong, but after the Easter Sunday attack, a majority of the select committee members were from the government.
So it's perfectly all right to have the majority.
Okay.
But a fair number of.
So what would be your ideal number?
I would say if there's 9, 8 from the opposition at least. But that is not only the reason.
So was that the ratio that was maintained during the Easter Sunday attack, or that committee?
I'm sorry. I would be lying if I say that I know the exact numbers, because I can't remember the exact numbers. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But that's the point.
But I don't think even at the time, I mean, it was 8-9. It was definitely not 8-9, or maybe a few members less. But
I mean, that my point is that there should be a fair representation from the opposition, and also there should be a independent. I mean, if you can't say independent when it comes to a parliamentarian, because you're representing either government or the opposition. But a person from a member of parliament who's not represented the government, and who also a person who is the secretary of the main political party which bankrupt the country. I mean,
according to your view.
according to majority view, I would say. According to majority view, I would say.
But now, Mr. Rajkana, you were demanding for an independent investigation into this matter. I'd like to pick on Dr. Ajit's brain now. You're not a parliamentarian. So how do you think we should go about this?
See, we feel any commission or committee appointed by the parliament to investigate about this incident is not sufficient. Our political party is for a full-fledged financial crimes investigation commission with judicial powers. With judicial powers to jail people who are actually involved in this financial crime. We feel a crime has been committed upon our people and the culprits have to be found. For that, whatever the investigation committee or commission that is appointed should have the technical know-how and the investigating powers to find out who is responsible for this.
May I? Yeah, I totally agree with him, and I would like to mention, I was talking about the Parliamentary Select Committee because that was the question.
Yeah, that's
right. So we have already gone to courts. And there's already, as there's JPA, there's already a court case going on. Just wanted to put that out.
Yeah. We don't feel that the current judicial process is adequate to investigate about this matter. So therefore, we are for a full-fledged, independent judicial commission which would investigate into this incident as to what happened to this country. We feel that there are many culprits who took decisions hastily, who actually violated the Monetary Act of Sri Lanka and the Fiscal Responsibility Act of Sri Lanka. These culprits have to be identified properly, investigated properly, in a very open manner, in a very fair manner, and given the maximum sentence for which they are responsible. I will take an example from Iceland. There are about 6 countries which went into bankruptcy during last 2 decades. Out of these countries, there was Iceland, Greece, Lebanon, Argentina, and Sri Lanka. Now, out of these countries, only Iceland came out of bankruptcy because they held an investigation and jailed 26 bankers who were responsible for bankrupting Iceland. And within 3 years, they came out of bankruptcy. So the only way to stop this happening in the future and also identify who has done it and what has happened, it is very important that you have an open, independent judicial commission to investigate into.
So I just have a question for both of you. I think what most people want to know is, why is there so much red tape in Sri Lanka? Why is there so much resistance to, I mean, it's been more than a year now.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So the main reason is the lack of political will. I mean, if you want to eradicate corruption, for example, you can bring out so many legislation. But if there's no political will, everything will get stuck. So we can clearly see it happening right now. When we wanted a Parliament Select Committee, by no means that is not the only thing that we are looking for. We have gone to courts and we are hoping that there's justice there. But even to have a Parliamentary Select Committee, if we can't get the correct committee members and a person a person who we all can accept. Now, for example, I wouldn't say that it has to be a person from SJB. Right? It could be Ms. Sumandaram from CNA. It could be from partly Champikaranaka from this party. It doesn't matter, but a person who can be accepted by the country and by the members of the parliament.
So Harshana, look at how technology is so advanced. You spoke about the Parliament Select Committee in terms of the Easter Sunday bomb attacks, and I very quickly looked it up on the internet.
Yeah.
For information, there were 9 members in the Parliament Select Committee that was appointed to look into the Easter Sunday bomb attacks. And the Deputy Speaker was Ananda Kumarasiri, and the other members were Dr. Rajasenaratna from the government, Rao Fakim from the government, Ravi Karunayaka from the government, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca from the government, Professor Ashumar Singh from the government, Dr. Jampati Vikramaratne from the government. At that time, we all know that the UNP-led government was hand in glove with the TNA. So there is MP Sumandiran, and you all were also very close to the JVP, and there was Nanindra Jayatissa as well.
Right.
So from the 9 members who were there in the committee, there were none. There were none.
There were
From the-
SLPP MPs which they did not take part.
So this time also, you all also withdrew.
No.
Very simple.
For what reason? We are giving a very valid reason. They didn't take. They didn't withdraw because of that sort of a reason.
No, but predominantly every Parliamentary Select Committee has had a majority of
So
government members.
did I ever say that there shouldn't be a majority? No, I never said. But what I'm saying is that there should be fair representation. Plus,
Yeah,
there
you
should
said 9 to 5. Now this Parliamentary Select Committee, all 9 are from the government.
No. There were others where SLPP MPs didn't. They withdrew from the committee. Not that there weren't. So I mean, you have to be corrected there. So and also accepted person.
So you all
can
withdrew
chair.
now, they withdrew at that time.
No,
So there's no difference.
They withdrew. They withdrew for not for. I mean, they didn't have a valid reason for withdrawing. They didn't want to have. So Parliamentary Select Committee was one thing, but that doesn't mean that, like we are also saying, that is also necessary. Plus, there should be other investigations, judiciary investigation.
Don't you think, Harshan, in a situation like that, okay, that the opposition has a bigger role to play? Dr. Amar Singh, even your leader of your political party is partly Champika Ranawaka. Individuals in that caliber should have a better say in Parliament. Why? Because you all can demand a forensic audit on the ISP payments that was made last in January, when the private sector was saying, please don't pay that $500 million US. So you all are not demanding that,
No.
Harshana.
So that is the reason that we want this select committee. So in this select committee, we can demand these things. Those can be recommendations. And that is what we are saying. So we still hope that the Speaker will rectify this and add value to Parliament, because this Parliament Select Committee is a bit of a joke.
Yeah, but the way it's going, Harshana, you know, you are very good friends with Ranjan Ramanayake as well. Ranjan Ramanayaka's famous saying "Me okkama yaluwa malli" is always true, because at the end of the day, nothing is going to happen. Now let's look at it, Harshan. Let's look at it now. Recently, this payment for Easter Sunday bomb victims, 100 million has been paid by President Sirisena Pooja Jayasundar. How much have they paid? 1.5 million, 15 million. What are they taking the judiciary system in Sri Lanka to a joke?
Exactly. So that is their fault.
No, it's not your fault. But at the end of the day, all politicians are being looked at by the people in the same eye.
I agree, but unfortunately, it's generalized. But you can't put everybody in the same bag. You know, it's generalized. Unfortunately, where I think is a big issue when it comes to politics or people getting involved in politics. But you can't just put every person, every politician or every member of parliament as a corrupt individual. That is not fair. But I agree. You know, by the actions, it is justified as
But
corrupt.
SJB is very unlucky, Harshan. You know why I'm saying this? Now look at the SJB. You all appoint Diana Gamage from your national list. Okay? She crosses over and now she is with the government. I feel sorry for Mujibur Rahman. he withdraws from parliament, resigns from the parliament, and then you all appoint H.M. Fauzi to that. H.M. Fauzi goes and hand in glove with the
you got it
Ranil
wrong.
Wickremesinghe. That's what what happened.
No. We cannot appoint H.M. Fauzi.
No, he's the next
He's
in
the
line.
next in
and
line.
Automatically.
So we
but
did the right
no,
thing.
but that's what I'm saying. You all are unlucky as a
I
party.
agree.
Because everyone who you all appoint, ultimately.
No, I agree.
H.M. Fauzi wasn't appointed.
No,
right?
not appointed, but he's
H.M.
next in line.
Fauzi was the next in
Next
line.
in line. So you have to give him. There's constitution. You
There's
can't do anything about it.
constitutionally you have
But
to
that's what I'm
give
saying. You all are unlucky.
100% agree but we did the right thing. At the municipal council, we believe that there should be a strong candidate, and Mujibur Rahman, my dear friend, who's actually from 2009.
Don't you feel sorry for him?
Absolutely. 2009, he has been the guy who's seated next to me.
You, yeah, in Parliament.
In Parliament, and even in the Provincial Council. So it is not the fault of the SJB. The elections are not happening because of this current government. We have gone to courts and even got a interim order. So they are not even listening to the judiciary. So even today, the SJP General Secretary and myself, we went and met the Election Commissioner General, Mr. Saman Ratnayaka, and we asked about this, and also the problem that the candidates are facing, especially the government employees.
Yeah.
So we are struggling. We are doing our very best.
Harshana, don't you think the traction that was
Talking
there...
about Diana Gami, I don't want to talk about.
No, Doctor.
There's nothing much to talk.
Yeah, but let's leave that topic aside,
Yes,
because she's not even represented here, unfortunately. So anyway, Harshana, if you look at it, a few months ago, you all had some traction in terms of an election. Even the JVP, the Frontline Socialist Party, you all were a little bit popular because people were not seeing any option at that time, and even the JVP was pressing for an election because they knew that they would be able to gain some momentum. But do you think if an election is held now, you all will have the same momentum and the traction at an election that is held in the coming few months? Don't you think things have changed now? The dynamics have changed.
I believe we can have the majority and form a government. SJB.
Let's say there is a general election.
Yes.
How much
That's
of
what I
votes?
meant.
How much of votes can you all get? Seats.
I mean,
let's
no,
be practical.
you can't. It depends on the number of total.
No, 130.
Votes, no.
113 is.
Oh, you're
the
talking about the
general
parliament
election.
seats.
Yeah, parliament seats.
For seats, no.
113 is the number of seats that are required to form
So
a
you ask what are the votes?
votes. So
Parliamentary
that's
seats is different.
Seats, yeah,
Okay.
seats. So let's say 5.2 million you all gained at the last.
So we
election.
believe that we can have majority in the parliament, which is over 113 parliamentarians.
Over 113
Yeah,
parliamentarians.
with the SJB and the alliance.
The alliance.
Of course.
They'll
So
stick with
we
you all.
obviously we are going to go for the election as an alliance, not only as SJB.
So party Champi Ranok is going to be a prime ministerial candidate or the presidential candidate?
Our party leader.
No, Harshana,
Sajid-
answer this question. I want to ask this from
Absolutely.
Dr. Amar Singh.
I'm talking about it. Very clearly, we have only one party leader. That is Sajid Premadasa. He will be the presidential candidate. Prime minister candidate is if there's a presidential election first and then the parliamentary election, only there will be even announced or not. I'm not sure. But
Parliament election?
Parliamentary election, obviously, it will be the prime minister.
So Sajid Premadasa
will be the
prime minister.
Prime. And I strongly believe that Minister Champika Ranawaka should be in this alliance, and I hope that he will join our alliance, and I think he's a very capable person.
Dr. Amar Singh, now Harshana put the knot right on your head now. Now your leader is going to be a member of parliament under Sajid Premadasa as the leader.
See, actually, we are promoting a set of values and set of policies. So,
The STB doesn't have those values and set of policies.
sorry?
The STB doesn't have.
Whoever the political party which at least agree with the basic principles of our policies, we would form an alliance. So political alliance in this type of a volatile political situation is very difficult to predict as to with whom who will form an alliance. So I think we should leave that question
Discussion
to the
for
future,
later.
discuss later. Because things are changing. I mean, it's not the same political situation which was there
3 months ago, that
3
is
months
now.
ago, that's
There
now. So, I mean, alliances are changing, people are moving. It's like it's very difficult to predict.
So, Nuan, don't you think the dynamics have changed now? A few months ago, even the Frontline Socialist Party, you all fielded several candidates at the last local government election as well. So, don't you think the dynamics have changed now? You all have lost some momentum. I don't even see you all. Are you all active now in politics?
Yeah, exactly. Politics doesn't mean that always you have to be in the media or public. We all doing politics for the sake of the people.
Yeah. So, you all active, right?
Exactly.
The party is still functioning.
Yes.
So there is no suppression of any sort, nothing. Because usually you see the Frontline Socialist Party on the streets campaigning for people's rights and all that, as you mentioned before. But these few days, very silent.
Yeah, wherever that we want to sit with the people, we have to stand with the people for their rights. We are always there. But if you are saying that only considering about the media publicity, I don't think you can't always guess only seeing the media.
But don't you think the dynamics have changed now?
Dynamics, that's the nature of the society. Dynamics have been changing time to time. But what we think, whoever comes to parliament, whoever win the election, whoever take the majority of the parliament, that's not the matter. After taking the majority of the parliament, what you are doing. So that's the most important thing. For time to time, we know how these parties form governments.
Will your party form an alliance with probably the JVP or the NPP? Because you all fell out, no? You all got angry and fell out.
No, once again, now you are talking about the parliament and the inside the parliament, what you should. But as a party, our main concern is not the parliament.
Not the parliament?
Not the parliament.
Ah.
Because you know, after the recent Aragalaya, now the Aragalaya suggested the action plan. What is the main item of the action plan? The Aragalaya suggested, yes, of course, parliament, that structure can be there. But we need a new system that people could participate and people could exercise their democratic rights. So that's the main issue.
So
now, as a party,
you can exercise your democratic right when you go to the polling booth.
That's a problem. Now, if you now what the experience we have for last 4 decades, one after you vote.
One, the problem is now what you're saying is you all don't want to go to parliament also. Every single time, like let's say the SJB forms a government, you all will have problems from the Frontline Socialist Party. They will be on the streets every single time.
So,
how will you all be able to govern, Harshana?
Can I clarify this?
Yeah.
Now we are not in the streets as a habit. As long as there are issues that have not been addressed by the ruling parties, of course we have to stand with the people. So we are not in the streets as a habit now. Now, what happened in the last Aragalaya? Why people came to the street, irrespective of political parties?
Yeah, because
all came to the streets because now what I am saying, now we have been experiencing these forums inside the parliament as to how they cross over the party. Now, you also talk about certain names, though, that Diana Gamage or other names, we know as to how they cross over the parties. That is also applicable to Partly Champikanana. All the other, they all cross over the parties. So they know how to play this game inside the parliament, as now Ranil Wickremesinghe is doing. But being a left-oriented party, People's Party, what we are saying, you can play these games within the parliament or Pradesh Sabha or Palat Sabha. But we need to take power to the people.
Yep.
Once you take the but I am saying, let me to explain that. Now, how the people thrown out executive president Gotabaya Rajapaksa, if they are not fulfilling the wish of the people, if they are not respecting the mandate of the people, that power, people took over that power and they exercised it in the streets.
So you're
all
saying
what
that
we are
was
saying,
done by Frontline Socialist Party?
No, never. I said the people. Being a left-oriented party, we always believe people's power. if we can build the people's power, if it can be transpired all these institutions, we are not refusing the parliament, we are not refusing the Pradesh Sabha. What the problem is that does not transpire the democratic rights of the people. That's the issue in this country. For example, according to our constitution, according to our constitution, the constitutionalism, the basis of our constitution is the representative democracy. Representative democracy. Give me 1 second. I have to explain. Yes.
I'll ask a question, then you can answer that.
Yes.
Now look at last year, Aragalaya. The Frontline Socialist Party was also part of this campaign because you said at the end of the day your objective is to be with the people. Ranil Wickremesinghe was appointed as the president. 24 hours later, you were in courts. You were trying to protect your people, and then what did you all do? Where were you all? You all wrapped up everything and then were silent. Then is that the people's mandate that the people are requesting from you all?
No, you are wrong, because you know.
No, I'm not wrong. I'm saying, but where you were? Because I was a journalist. I was there on the ground. I saw you. I saw you at the courts.
Yes. Yes. No,
that's what I'm saying. So
that's
within
how
24 hours, within 24 hours, you were in courts. After that, you all didn't even protest.
Yes.
So now where are you all now?
No,
now so much of problem. There is a media bill that is being taken up. There is the anti-terrorism bill that was being taken up. Where were you all? That's what I'm saying. The last few months, you all were silent.
You are totally wrong. Actually,
it's like I will tell you one. You know, when the war is there, non-governmental organizations get rich. You know how? They get funding from everywhere. So when non-governmental organizations operate in a volatile situation, so all these non-governmental organizations will sell the Sri Lankan war and start earning money, right? I'm not talking about all the non-government, certain civic right movements or whatever it is. Even for you all, don't you think that is the case? You all want a problem always.
Being a responsible journalist, first of all, you have to gather the information before posing a question.
Yeah, I'm very responsible.
The people of this country, people of this country, the members of the Aragalaya, all knows how, as a party and as a activist, as to how we defend, as to how we protect the protesters from the very beginning up to now. At the same time, when ATA comes, when the rehabilitation bill comes, all the other draconian laws, throughout we defend, we stood with the party and we are fighting with the party. So people who having that concern about the...
no, but you said you are not fighting with the party, you said you are fighting with the public.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Party also...
Party or public thing.
Yeah, that's a part of the members of the society. What I am saying, now as a journalist, now you know when now the government is going to bring act regarding the freedom of media. Now what I am saying, we have to fight together. Journalists and media personalities must fight together against this conduct of the government. Then did they consult you? Did they consult your institution before bringing this kind of act? So what we are believing, we have to uplift the democratic rights of the people. Once we uplift the democratic rights of the people, whoever comes to parliament, whoever forms the government, that is immaterial. Then that forum always transpire the democratic rights of the people. So that's why I bring that example. If they are going to bring a bill regarding the media, there must be a consultation process of the journalists. Without doing so, it is not a proper democracy.
How is democracy being reflected?
We want to build a system like that.
Yeah, how is democracy being reflected when it comes to state-owned enterprises? Like, are you of the opinion that state-owned prices the government should be governing and administering these institutions?
Yeah, that depends on the objective. Now, for example, things like education, health are not commodities. Those are the service for the sake of the people. People are working. Therefore, those are the benefits that return given by the government to the people.
Most of the country's health and education is retained by the government, even if you look at London or the US.
But the situation now is different. Now they are going to even privatize the education and health as well. Now, first of all,
let's look at the CBC, CEB, Sri Lankan Airlines,
yes,
the Water's Edge project, the Grand Hyatt, all those projects. What is your view? What is the view of the FSP?
So what? Ultimately, once again, my answer is same. Now, for example, CPC. Now, the petroleum and fuel is one of the main requisite of the people. So ultimately, why it has become a failed institute? Because of the corruption and mismanagement. So now, for example, in these institutions, we need to put workers into these boards. We need to put the actually professionals into these boards. Then only we can create proper management, when we can actually annihilate the corruption. So without doing so, all these ruling parties, what they did, they use this institution for their betterment, not the
Shall we
betterment
ask
of
the
the
question
people.
from Harshana? No, Harshana was in government, no Harshana. So do you agree with Nuwan's thoughts on this, saying that certain institutions have to be there with the government, whether it's loss making or profit making?
No, I mean it's a very complex question, but we believe in private sector where they,
Involvement.
sorry,
Private sector involvement.
of course, and also now, for example, the loss-making state enterprises. I mean, they really have to be restructured. Like you said, Sri Lankan Airlines, it's 160 billion loss last year, and it's unfortunate that they were a profitable company when they were involved with a joint venture with Emirates in 2009. I believe that the Emirates left for again a political reason. So we believe that there should be private sector involvement. We believe that there should be restructured, especially the loss-making institutions.
What is your take on privatizing Sri Lanka Telecom? Because Sri Lanka Telecom is an institution that is making profits, but the government is looking at privatizing, privatizing even that.
Yeah. So already Sri Lanka Telecom is
Partly
privatized. But the problem we have at the moment is that they are looking at a deal. They are looking at making money. We believe even if Sri Lanka Telecom is privatized, there should be transparency. There should be proper tender procedure. Those things should be there in place.
You just have to put it to the stock market. No,
So transparency, yes, that's what I'm saying. So there are transparent way of doing things, right? So one way is the stock market. There are, when you say restructuring, you can restructure in different ways, right? One way is to open up to the stock market. One way would be to get a private investor, right? So there are different ways, but the principle of transparency, principle of corrupt-free tender procedure, those things should take place. But I don't see that happening here.
But do you principally think that government should not be in business?
No, there are businesses that government can be in if it's not a burden to the society.
Example?
If it is not a burden to the society.
No, let's give an example for us.
So even telecom, I don't see it's such a big issue because it's partly privatized. Management is done very efficient. I mean, there can be many reasons. So if telecom is, I can remember when we were young, you had to wait years to get a telephone connection. Now it is not the case. The efficiency is very high. It is a profitable company. So I don't think that should be in your top priority to restructure. So we have bigger problems in this. But I see that is the first one to be sold because there's a good transaction there for certain individuals. So we need transparency, we need a proper tender procedure to do it. So we are not in a hard line where it should not be privatized. Or
during the Hapalne time, Harshana, you all were pointed to government for good governance. But we saw how President Maithripala Sirisena's brother was appointed as the chairman of Telecom as well. So there were political appointments that were happening right throughout. If you look at former Minister Arjun Ranatunga's brother.
As long as it's whoever's brother, as long as whoever's son, as long as they are qualified for that, it's okay, right? The qualification.
At that time, I remember the government was saying that there will be a board in the parliament who will decide on the parliamentary high post committee. They will be before them, and the parliamentary high post committee will appoint individuals to these boards. That never happened.
No. Parliamentary high post committee does not appoint institution head.
Yeah, no, but at that time you always saying
there was not a parliamentary committee.
Yeah.
There should
be a committee.
There was a committee because it was also a bit of a mess where two political parties joined together. So there was a committee where there were representation from SLFP and the UMP to appoint these things. So, I wouldn't say every decision that was made during that time was right, but I believe that.
But don't you think, Harshana, if the situation at that time, because you were also in government, if you all did the right thing, if justice was meted out against corrupt activities that took place prior to 2015, that we wouldn't have been in this situation now, because we're talking about the Rajapaksa regime for dragging us down since 2019. So don't you think that you all missed the bus at that time?
I 100% agreed. I 100% agree with you. That is the reason we left that political party and formed a new political party.
You all left the political party because of elections.
No.
SJB left the UNP because the UNP refused to give the prime ministerial position to Sajid Premadasan.
Absolutely not. He was the presidential candidate, right? So that was nothing to do with that. After the presidential candidacy, after we lost the presidential election, only we formed a new political party. So there were one of the main reasons was that I think we were not happy about how these corruption investigations took place.
So, Shinaya, what is the take of the ITAC in terms of state-owned institutions? Because we have to find a way out.
Yes, we have seen the state-owned enterprises are not making enough profits. Many of them very inefficient, politically appointed board of directors or members, and the nepotism is very high in those state-owned enterprises. The state-owned enterprises should be changed to become a profit-making bodies. But
do you think principally the government should run businesses, or principally you all think government shouldn't run businesses?
No, government can have a stake, but not the whole state-owned enterprises, the propriety. They can have a stake on that. But what happens here is, now you see, now we have, say for example, research-oriented state-owned enterprise, rubber research, coconut research, Palmyra research, so many overlapping state-owned enterprises. For what? They can be combined. So the vision is not clear for these state-owned enterprises. The state-owned enterprises are, most of them have been running at loss, not for 1 year, 2 years, but for decades. Why not?
Excuse me, the institutions that you were talking about are not state-owned enterprises. Those are government research units.
Yeah, but they are part of the state-owned corporations. and they form part of it. They form part of it. The Palmyra Coconut Research Institute.
The primary
Is-
objective of those research bodies to earn a profit.
Yes, but they are not. No, they.
But
What I say is they.
But Chinaya, you know, research units in any body, any corporate sector also won't make money.
No,
They will only make losses.
No. What I say is, they are different. There are different overlapping research institutes. They could be incorporated into one unit, and can be. You have.
You mean
three,
made
four-
more efficient?
Yes, and more efficient, and you have so many chairman, board of the members of directors directors there. See, this is a loss for the state. So, what they have to do, this should be changed. But not only that I cited as an example, but many of the state-owned corporations, many of them, majority of them, are running at loss. Why? This is for 1 year you can just.
But now the government has decided to restructure. Now I saw recently, they've said that they are putting a paper to restructure Satosa, for an example.
Yeah.
So don't you think these are progressive moves from the government?
Structuring is always progressive. If it is progressive, it is progressive. But they are not progressive. Now, the restructuring of these institutes, ultimately what happened, see the end results. So they say now, Satosa is being restructured. At the end of it, what happens? What is the end result? Is it make a profit? Is it making profit now? No. So, but
what I don't understand is, Chinaya, there are so many supermarket chains in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Right? All these supermarket chains are not making money. Why is it that Satosa is making losses?
Can I?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Actually, when you are discussing this topic, first of all, if your mindset is tainted with this profit-making mindset, I think you are wrong. Now, for example, why we need Satosa? Satosa means cooperative system. That is, people should be benefited rather than thinking about the profit. The concept of Satosa is to implement a cooperative system. There are a lot of supermarkets, the chains, multinational companies. Of course, in the meantime, the government involvement for Satosa should be, irrespective of the fact that others are earning profit, how to distribute these essentials for low cost for the general public. That is the concept.
Okay, so
That's the concept.
Are you saying, Nuwan, that Satosa has to sell prices below cost?
Reasonable. So I am not saying that it
They
should
have
be.
to make some money, no?
Yes,
at the end
of
the
course.
day.
But that should not be a profit-making.
Yeah, but now they are not.
like,
But they are not even making that right now.
Exactly. What is the reason? What's the reason? All these political parties, they are pro these profit-earning capitalist class. So they want to collapse these things. That's why they collapse Lanka. That's why they are collapsing other institutions. Because when we think about the MPs of these, even UMP, Sajaba, all are owners of very companies. Dayagamaki, he's a owner of a large scale of companies. So they are pro-capitalist class. So their main intention to collapse these institutions. What we are fighting, we need that cooperative system for the sake of majority poor people in this country. We need that transport system. The other thing, you asked very pivotal question regarding the insurance. Now, the first institution, they are going to sell the telecom. In the year 2021, profit was more than 5,000 million rupees. The profit. Why they are selling telecom? Why they are selling insurance corporation? So there are a lot of insurance corporations. So these telecom is neck to neck with the Dialog and other institutions. So why you are selling that? Because they are also pro-capitalist class who are willing to invest these institutions and taking profit out of that, disregarding the benefit of the people. So that's why government involvement is must for these institutions. Because otherwise you lost that balance. Everything is going for the sake of the profit. So therefore, when you are analyzing this issue, always you should think government is not there to earn profit. But the government involvement is very important to safeguard the people.
But no, so, Kunduan, earning profit is okay. Let's say what we take what you're saying, government not earning a profit is fine. Okay. At least there should be break even. No?
Exactly.
You don't do it at loss. No.
So,
but ultimately, it's the people who will have to pay that as well.
Exactly. Now why
are we paying? Now Harshana spoke about 160 billion loss at Sri Lankan Airlines, right? Why must someone in Kabithigul level pay taxes on sugar because of to pay Sri Lankan Airlines?
Of course.
That's not fair.
But still I have to take that stance because, for instance, Sri Lankan Airlines.
No, but don't take a stance.
What I'm going to analyze. Now, if
let's be pragmatic.
Yes, it's very pragmatic. So, what is the purpose of running a state-owned airline? Ultimately, if the people could buy low-cost ticket to go to their destination, that should be the idea.
So you're saying all 22 million people are going to go on the plane?
No, thing is, if it's going low, if it is not profitable.
If someone is going on an airline, if someone is going on an airline, that means that person has money.
Exactly.
Why is Jack, Johnny and Paul from Kabithigul level or Sirisena, Kumari and...
No, you are wrong.
Go from Kabithigul level
overseas. What I am saying, if that, for instance, Sri Lankan Airlines, if it is not a profitable venture, of course, government has to interfere with it, and you have to change the management.
You don't understand, but the problem is
you have to change
don't understand the dynamics
if there is
about airlines. You think airlines, if you are going to run it at a low cost, people will come on that airline to a country. Why are you not thinking about this?
Now, that's why I told. For instance, if you want to develop it more, if you need more investment for that, I am for a moment. I'm saying this attitude. We have to change this attitude.
Grand scale airlines in the world.
Exactly. If you want, that's what. Let me finish this off.
Have you travelled on a international airline and seen the width and breadth?
Of course. Now, for instance, how big they are. They are going to give petrol station to Sinopec.
Let's forget it. Now we're talking about airlines, you know.
Excuse me, can I just intervene?
Yes.
Now, if you are talking about Sri Lankan Airlines was a profitable airline till 2009, right? It was a joint venture between Sri Lankan and Emirates, and that was for 10-year period. So they didn't renew simply because Peter Hill then had there was an issue with the Rajapaksa regime where they needed more business class seats and they were not willing to give, and Peter Hill's visa was not extended. So that was the reason. So unfortunately, we have to look at why these things happened. Right now, Sri Lankan Airlines, after that, it started making a huge loss. So restructuring, and I have to disagree with Nuwan. Unfortunately, his ideology is unfortunately not there in this world.
It's not there.
It's not there in this world. I mean, I respect his thoughts and opinion, but unfortunately, it is not there, right? It is not. There's not a single example. So I don't know whether it will happen in another 100 years or so, but it is very, very unlikely. So, and the way and when he said, MPs from SJB or UMP are rich capital, what is wrong with that? Just because you're rich doesn't mean that you're wrong and you're corrupt and you're the worst person on this earth. I mean, why do you want to think like that? Every rich person in this country is not a corrupt.
And we should not forget, Harshana, Sri Lankan Airlines, what about Mihin Lanka? That was brought in after that. That was even out of India. That was a budget airline. But did that gain any result? No, it didn't. No.
See,
that
about
is the
this issue of
Sorry.
about this issue of government-owned businesses, I think there's big confusion. We, as the political party, is against government running any kind of business. We believe that it is the private sector who should be the driving force of this economy. And when it comes to various services of the country, we believe health and education has to be provided by the government free to all people. That is what we believe. And that is what we will provide if our government, if our party comes into power. So when it comes to various government institutions, there are different type of governments. I think we must first identify what kind of government institutions are there. Now, as he said, there are research institutions. Now, the research institutions anyway have to be run mainly by the government. But there's an issue. There's an issue because there is multiplication of research institutions where a government could look at these institutions and merge some of these institutions and bring down the cost of running these institutions. And then in addition to that, there are regulatory institutions. Now, the regulatory institutions cannot be run by private sector. They have to be run by the government sector. So regulatory institutions they have to be there. They have to be independent, monitoring all the other activities of the country. But when it comes to business, the business has to be done by the private sector, not by the government. Government may get involved, maybe in providing capital in an indirect way. Now, for example, Singapore Airlines, the biggest stakeholder of the Singapore Airlines is the Singapore government. But Singapore government doesn't run the Singapore
Operation.
Doesn't operate. So we believe in that type of a management model where the private sector is the driving force, and it has worked everywhere.
Duan, are you in agreement with that?
No. At the very inception, what I told, we need a people-oriented economy. Whether businesses are running by private or government, that is immaterial. Ultimately, if the public, the people are benefited out of that, that is the most paramount important thing. That is what I explained from the very inception. So,
A people-centered economy.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Where? In which part of the world are
That's why we are going to build up. That's why people are suffering. We were unable to build up. There is a barrier to build up that.
Yesterday, I will tell you a classic example, Nuwan, right?
Yes.
Yesterday I was watching Harshan was also part of this conversation in a private, another private media institution. It's on the LRT project, right? One of the members from the JVP was talking about how the LRT project is only one way, right? So then you start thinking,
What is his thoughts about the LRT?
Once again, apply my theory. If ultimately people are benefited out of that, if the people have been consulted, I think if it is worth, of course you have to do that. But my argument is this: now whatever business or whatever venture, ultimately if people are not benefited out of that, if a limited class of the society is benefited out of that, we are against that. So what is the purpose of having that? Now, what is the reason for this crisis? From the year 1994, the main topic is the topic that you are bringing. Government should not do businesses and everything should be privatized. From the year 1994, even from the year 1978, lot of government institutions have been privatized. Now, after 2 decades, what happened? Now we are talking about the bankrupt. If that is the solution, now this country should be a well-developed country. There is no nexus with this privatization and the development of the country. The problem is, ultimately, people have not been benefited out of whatever these privatization or things. That is what we are proposing. People should be consulted. There is a process, the people to interfere with this decision-making process. Otherwise, the limited class of people now even whatever investment.
Let's say we buy your argument.
Yes.
Privatized companies have not done well. Let's say you are right. tell me what are the state-owned companies that have done well?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say.
Tell me what are the state-owned companies that have done well?
For instance, now
Education, health,
yes, of
CPC.
course. No, not CPC, education, health. Those are the things.
The
that-
education system in Sri Lanka.
That's what I am saying. If the government cannot manage that, these MPs were there in the parliament, they were ministers throughout. If they cannot do that, where's the problem? Problem is with them, not that system. You and me went to same school. We have been benefited because of the public education, isn't it? We benefited out of that. So you have to improve that. Without improving that, if you are discouraging,
But Nuwan, do you agree?
that is a part of the policy.
But Nuwan, do you agree that only a fraction of the university students in Sri Lanka, now you always see the university students on the streets, they are being attacked by water cannons and all that and more. Just look at these people for an example. Just look at these students for an example.
Yes.
Can they find a competent job at the private sector?
Who's
in Sri
responsible for
Lanka?
that? You know what is the percentage from the GDP for the education they are allocating? 1.8, less than that. So that's why the university teachers demanded to allocate 6% out of the GDP for the education.
Can I just ask about, you didn't answer.
Yeah.
I'm talking specifically on the light railway LRT. Now it's a loan from the Japanese government, JICA. Are you all in agreement with that?
I answered that. What is the paramount important thing is, if the people are benefited, if there's a low-cost transportation without the heavy traffic, of course we are with that.
No, so let me ask this question.
Yes.
Now, do you believe that it has to be run by the private sector? What do you think? Should it be run by the private sector or the state?
Once again, I have to give the same answer. Our main concern is, ultimately, if people are benefited out of that.
So then you agree for a private sector?
Exactly.
So it's quite clear now. Therefore, a profit-making private sector institute.
If the main objective is not the profit-oriented business, if it is a people-oriented business, we never mind it's a private or government. But the problem is, private is never involving the businesses that they cannot expand their capital. That's a problem. This is
So
let me to conclude.
Private,
It's a
non-profit.
It's a economic, not non-profit. People should be benefited. That's all.
So you're
For
saying-
instance,
So you're saying
yeah, because in this society,
the private sector is going
that's
to
why you all got together. You wanted to promote the owners of the capital. That is this particular system. That is the reason for this crisis as well. Now after privatizing, they take over the profit and they are investing it outside of the country. They are not concerning about the development of the country, betterment of the society. They are not concerning about the general public. They take profit out of that. They are investing it overseas. So that is this current existing system that only created this crisis. So we are fighting, instead of that profit-making businesses, we are fighting how to build a people-oriented just economy.
See now,
without social disparity. For last few years, now even during the COVID season, one company earned 50 billion profit. How it has happened? How people are suffering, very few people earning billions of profit. So unless we are sorted down this particular social disparity, of course, people will be suffering. This social disparity more increase in future, then nobody will be benefited out of it. So that's why we want structural change of this system.
No, all these are well and good.
Yeah.
The way that you are saying, if companies, private sector don't make money, private sector companies will be closed.
So can I just ask
also-
one question?
Yeah.
Now you have
Yes.
just imagine a member of yours having a small shop, right? Or not a small shop, say a business. So their intention is not to make profit.
see, I think
But I think you have an idea about now. Let's assume multinational company come and they build a supermarket there. Once you build a supermarket, what would happen to the hundreds of thousands of groceries there? So that is what we are saying. Now,
So I guess-
just because you are running a business, you cannot be considered as a capitalist. You are just a person running a business.
But you just said when you get 50 billion rupees, you said that's not fair.
Exactly. So they are taking money, they are stealing money of the people.
So now what you're
That
saying
is
I
is
think
small
that
business is
all
okay,
things
big
stop now.
business is bad.
Can't.
Exactly, because if the objective is to expand in the capital
No,
and invest in what, because it's a political game.
No, I'm just saying. I am scared to be in a country like that.
Maybe because your mind is tainted with
No,
this
my
particular
mind is
capital
not tainted.
system.
My
That's the problem.
mind.
So we are doing politics.
Because I am
we are
fearful.
doing politics
I
to
am-
change people like you.
Yeah, I am
That's
fearful.
what we are.
No, I am fearful. If we live in a country like that, we are going to be so backward,
No.
and our country will
Exactly
not.
not.
We won't be open for technology.
Yes.
We won't be open for new developments
Of
like
course.
AI. We will be frogs in the well.
Of course.
Of course,
What's wrong?
frogs in the well.
So,
I don't want even.
Now
talk.
what will happen?
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to even talk
Nothing to
about.
laugh. This is
No.
a very serious.
Yeah, I don't want to be a frog in the
we
well.
are
No, I
talking
don't want to.
about-
No, but I don't want to.
Now,
No,
we are talking
you may
about-
you may like
we are-
it because you can then sell that proposition
No.
to innocent university students and get them on the
No,
streets.
you are
But
wrong.
I am not. I
You
am
are
not
wrong.
in favor of that.
You are wrong. Even the
I don't
university students are struggling for that. For what? They are,
You
they are, they are,
can't-
they
you
are
can't
asking,
be frogs
they
in
are,
the
They
well.
are asking
If you
internet
look at-
facilities.
if you look
They
at-
are demanding internet facilities. They are demanding libraries. For that only they are fighting. Not because of the backwardness, because of this institution, the government is not allocating money to them. That's why they are fighting.
I think I want to clarify one point. Nani.
I don't want to be a frog in the well.
I know.
I just
mean,
want to make it very
There's a
clear.
country like that. It's North Korea. North Korea is a country that he proposes, I suppose. Where everything is run by the government. I think people probably are living happily, hopefully. So no,
I don't
actually
think
now discussion is about bankruptcy. I don't think.
No, but I have to make it very clear. I don't think the majority of the people want to be frogs in the well. Not in. I know a lot of people. I'm just giving an example.
Can I give you an example? Now, the country that he's proposing is something like North Korea.
No.
Right? Right?
Yeah,
So
everything is
tell
run by
me
government.
a single person in this country. Now, there's a lot of people who want to go abroad,
Yes.
right? These days, especially. Is there a single person who says that I want to go to North Korea?
So that example is so wrong. No.
No, but there is no country.
There's no country.
The idealistic country that one
The-
is proposing is
What-
not there.
The only
That model
closeness.
What I
that
am
model has been
suggesting-
experimented with and failed. The
That's
former
why.
Soviet Union in Russia,
Exactly,
it failed
exactly.
because that model is not right.
Now, for example, what shall I say? Now, people are.
You know,
now we are told.
You
Now
know
you
why,
are.
You know why,
Yeah.
why I don't like this proposition. Now there was an individual. I don't know whether you remember. His name was Uzul Premaratne, who was the convener of the Inter-University Students Federation at that time, right? Look at how much of protests he carried out, right? Today he's a successful lawyer and he is doing well.
What's
right? No, that's something. Wait, look at the students who were with him protesting on the streets.
Yeah.
Look at their plight today.
No, but they are also attached to a certain institution. But
Which institution? Which institution? Private
Now,
sector?
tell me, yeah, private sector, government sector. They are not only doing protests. At the same time, they are doing their education. They are going to other. I don't know what
All
is your
these
proposition.
people,
You are- that's
all
why
these
your
people,
mindset, your
all
mindset
these
was
people,
tainted
the thing
with
is,
something.
no, my
So
mind
you
is
are
not
going-
tainted. I don't
But
think my mind is
we are
tainted.
suggesting, now we are talking about the crisis. We are talking about the bankruptcy of this particular country. So we are thinking about the solution. All these solutions are the same track. They are going to establish the same thing.
Yeah.
They want to run the same system. We are suggesting an alternative. That's the difference between them and us. That's what
No,
I'm
I mean-
saying.
I mean,
As you said, if you are asking example, what is happening to other countries, what is the ideal system that you can give example regarding socialism, of course, we are fighting for that because not only the Sri Lanka, the entire world is suffering. 50% of the world, the wealth is running by around 100 companies. So entire world is suffering due to this social disparity. So we are fighting for that. So you can laugh because you are happy. You are with this system. You are benefited. But around 65% of this country is underprivileged, not benefited. around 65% of the world are underprivileged. So we are doing politics for them. We are not doing politics for us.
Please don't do it for me.
Exactly.
I don't want you to do
The
politics
last
for me.
thing I was trying to say,
I think we should
that
not
is not a
con-
fork inside the well,
Yeah.
because you also will be benefited. You are here because of the public education. I know that. You are benefited now. Now you are in a separate class. That's a difference.
We all
See, I
were
think he's very happy. He's
we were
very
all,
happy explaining his
at
ideology.
least 7 to 80% of the population in Sri Lanka have gone to public education system. There is no, I think the point that I want to make is one, we were not born with the silver spoon in our mouths. We went to a private education, public education system, and we are happy about it, right? We learned our ABCs from there.
Let's protect it. That's why. Let's fight to protect that.
Let's
That's what
fight
they
to
are saying.
protect it. But that is not the education system that we should envisage to achieve. Look at the
let's
look at
improve
the
that.
price. We have to improve it. If that
Let's
has to
demand
be
them
improved,
to improve
yeah.
that.
So if that has to improve, new knowledge has to come in.
Exactly. Let's demand government to improve that.
That knowledge has to come in from
Exactly.
outside.
Exactly.
Right? What
let's
SW
demand.
R.D. Bandaranaike did to make
Exactly.
Sri Lanka a single
That's
only
why-
education system. That
That's
is
why
the
IUSF
reason.
doing. That's why they are demanding
That is the
new
reason.
technology. They are demanding
That is the reason people are in this rut today.
I think we are going in a wrong direction. Now, if we conclude this discussion with the idea that the bankruptcy was due to the capitalist system that he suggests, it's wrong. I mean, if you take the countries in the world, most of them are having this particular capitalist system that he suggests. Are all the countries in bankruptcy? This is due to a wrongful act done by certain set of people, politicians, some officers in the government, and also corrupt business people who were cronies of this particular government. It is not due to the capitalist system that he is suggesting. I mean, when you take the world, the words capitalism and socialism is intermingled now. Actually, in most of the countries, you have a mixed system. Now, most of the countries, you have a system where, as you suggested, health and education is free. There is social benefit. So, all these are socialist concepts. But these socialist concepts are implemented in capitalist countries. So, there is no hard and fast rule in this world. Now, a particular country is extremely capitalist or extremely socialist. There's nothing like that. There's a mix. He is living in a world which was at the beginning of the 19th century or 20th century. Right. So the world has changed.
So, Chinay, which side are you on now? It's easy to pick, no?
I quite agree with him.
Easy to pick a side now, not like the TNA and JITAC.
No, I quite agree with him because there is no hard and fast rule about socialism and capitalism. That is intermingled. Like what we say always, the federalism and the unitary system of government. Both are intermingled. There is no unitary government in the world. There is no federal system of government in the world. Both are same. So a part of that, you cannot call British government a unitary system of has unitary system of government, and you cannot call India is a federal state. So it is intermingled like that. This with the changing world, the attitude has to change also. That should be the way forward. There are socialist policies implemented in countries where you have a capitalist system of government, so called, but that is not so. But so in the socialist countries, like for example in China, there are many capitalists now. There are many capitalists now. So there is no capitalist countries, there is no socialist countries as such. So both are intermingled now. So I quite agree with him on that point.
Yeah. So this is why we are promoting a concept called pragmatism. Pragmatism is where when you face a problem, you look at the solutions that have been made and been successful in other countries. It may be socialist, capitalist, maybe it was implemented in the Western country or Eastern country, where we take the examples and analyze and see what is best for the country. Yes. So that is what has to be done. Not think whether it's a socialist policy or whether it's a liberal policy or whether it's a capitalist policy or whatever. So what is
And
best to the country?
The
Best
pragmatism,
has to be done.
pragmatism like this. In the year, as I remember, 2001, partly Champika wrote a book, Sihala Abhyog. He concluded that this is a Sinhala Buddhist country. To protect that, we have to fight. Now, after 20 years down the line, now he's a moderate person. For what reason? Good. For what reason? This is the pragmatism. For the sake of their own benefit.
So
For
can't people change?
build up their characters to come to power, they are doing certain things. Now, the other parties, during the
Is it wrong to change?
during the bond scam, they totally defend the Ranil Wickremesinghe. Now, when they went to the opposition, they are taking different stand. So, this is the nature of this country. This is the so-called pragmatism.
If
We are against
if
that.
the change
We have
is
a
for the
specific-
good.
You are changing for that.
Yeah,
You
if-
want to come to power. You want to be the next president. You are changing. That is a pragmatism. But being a left party, we don't have that personal agenda.
better have
we have
fixed
one
policies.
agenda.
Never
That one
change.
agenda is as to how we build a proper system for the people, not a one person to be a president, to get the member of parliament post, to get a ministership. You can adhere the pragmatism, opportunism, whatever.
Why do you break away with the JVP?
Except that there's an ideological issue within the party.
Which is?
So
I can't explain it within 5-10 minutes, but there was an ideological issue.
So
When
it
we
changed.
thought
Is
that
it
we
wrong?
can't sit together. That's the
So
reason.
when
What I'm
you
saying-
change, it's
what I'm
okay. When
saying,
others change,
That's what I'm
you
trying to
need
say.
a,
When
you
all
need
change,
a-
it's okay,
you
but when you are-
throughout we maintaining one policy
yes.
for the economy, just, equitable, people-oriented economy. For that you can use the word socialism, but disregard, forget the name. Ultimately, people-oriented economy. That's what we need. For the political system is concerned, the democracy. So we are fighting for democracy. So this is our policy. So we don't mind who is the leader, who is the man going to be the next president. We don't mind about that. We are also mind about as to how we protect the underdog, as to how protect the vulnerable people of this country.
So you all have never decided that you all will be in governance ever?
People should decide that. We are organizing people for that. We need farmers to get the power of the farming sector, the estate workers to get the power of the estate sector. For that only we are fighting with people. Students to get the power of the education, to decision-making process.
Student.
Yeah, student, teachers, university teachers, they should take the decision about the
So
education.
that means like the
Not
primary
the one
primary
politician.
school student should decide about the.
If Mr. Gehru taking the decision about the education, he always thinking about the profit. But if the students, teachers, university teachers get together and take decision of the education, that is the ideal system. Now for mill owners maintaining the entire paddy business.
May I-
Instead of that,
Yeah,
how to bring power to the farmers
Well, let's listen
who
to-
are cultivating.
May-
That is our policy.
So I believe that there should be public education, but I don't believe that there should be only public education, right? So you believe that there should be only public. There's absolutely no private.
For certain
education.
things
No.
should be government, because education,
so,
health, those are not commodities.
Even we believe in that. Even we believe in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that
So,
doesn't
but that
mean
doesn't mean
that
that
you
the
can't
government
have
should run
private
business.
So there shouldn't be private hospitals. Am I right? There
Shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be
Once
private
again-
schools.
But yes,
There shouldn't be.
That shouldn't be.
government should take the responsibility of the health
See,
and
let's-
education
let-
of the people.
Yeah,
No,
that's
but the
actually-
choice of the people.
Tell me,
That choice-
tell me you believe that the health sector has to be entirely run by the
Exact.
government?
Exact.
So there shouldn't be any
No need.
any private.
No need.
Right.
Why?
So
Why
the
should-
education has to
You
be
all,
entirely.
you all be benefited
Yeah.
out of that.
So now
you all be benefited out of that.
our point of view is quite different,
Yes.
right? We believe the government should provide free health and free education to all. But in the meantime, there could be private institutions running these activities as well. But the government should monitor the activities. So that is our point of view.
That's
So that is
your-
our point of view.
What's the
Right.
best thing? The best
Right.
thing is if the government take the responsibility of the education and health. Those are not commodities. We all be benefited. So why should we nobody will be arguing about that. if government can give
But
quality.
do you think
on the
under the
other
government
side,
views-
on the other side, now if there's a person who's wealthy enough who can afford a private medical, who could go to a private hospital, the government of the other people who can't afford would get.
So why should
Would
it,
be-
if government is maintaining proper quality education system and health system, nobody will come to do that. Because why? Why you need that?
See,
Why
the
you need that?
need is this.
As long as
I mean, I think-
as long as you need to facilitate them, to let them to invest their the capital and earn profit out of these things like health and education, of course you are expecting to collapse these. So
Do you go
that
to
is what happening.
do you go to a private hospital?
Of course, I'm using private buses. So while doing that, can't I fight for that? Fight against that?
No,
But as far as
Because of
I just
because
asked the
I'm
question.
using private buses, unlike you, only I'm fighting for government transport.
so
Because I feel that how I'm suffering.
why do you think that I have
when
not
I'm
used
going to fight-
private
Do you
buses?
think if
When
the-
I'm
No,
going
no,
to
no,
fight-
no, no.
no, sorry. Okay.
Right? Why do you think that I have not used
Oh,
private
sorry,
buses?
sorry. You might. That's good. Since I am suffering lot to find a school for my child, of course I am fighting for public education. Because we are victims of that. I have that right.
No, but Mr. Bogi, I think
What's the difficulty in
just-
finding a school for your child? What's the difficulty?
I think that's a
No,
difficult
no,
question.
I'll ask you.
People who
No, there
know
are
in this
so many
country,
governments.
if
So
you are
there
in
are-
this country,
No,
you
no.
know how difficult to find a school.
So you
for
can't find a single school for your child.
It's very difficult to find a quality education.
quality
So
education.
quality education.
Yes.
That is what he wants.
Yes, of
So
course.
he's
Otherwise,
contradicting himself.
yes.
But
He
now,
wants
now,
quality.
now,
Government is
now
not
the hospital
providing that.
systems. When
He will-
we talk about hospital system, vast number of patients are now going to private sectors, private hospitals, and that relieves the government from spending so much. So they are saving, but the quality in the government hospitals is very poor. Why is that? Before the private hospital system came into being, the government hospital system was very good,
Exactly.
very good. Everybody went there, but now you go to government hospital, there is no medicine, people are not taken care of,
So I can tell you
no
one,
beds.
I can tell you one real life example. So I had this, my eye was twitching a little bit, and the doctor gave me a steroid to use to my eye, right? So I go to the State Pharmaceutical Corporation because it was only available at the State Pharmaceutical Corporation, and I got this steroid to put into my eye as eye drops, right? But I didn't use it because I bought it from a State Pharmaceutical Corporation. I was not sure, so even though the twitching was continuing, I didn't use it. So I had this bottle in my luggage, in the luggage that I used to take to travel overseas, in the luggage. And then I saw this news item that was published with regard to the 27 patients who went blind by using this particular steroid in question to the eyes, and the batch number and everything was highlighted. You won't believe my luck on one. I checked that bottle after that. You know, that bottle was from that batch. And I was just thinking to myself, if I used it, probably today I would be blind and I would be able to probably face the nation tonight. And that is the level of corruption. That is the level of quality that the people are open to.
But why I'm saying you are wrong? We are
I am
doing,
not-
we are
I'm saying
doing,
I
we are
am
doing
feeling
hundreds of cases regarding the negligence of the private institutions as well.
Yeah.
Merely because that happened, you can't blame this public education or public
No,
health.
but I'm just saying, this is because for me,
So those
when it
things
comes
are
to this,
for
very
you.
personal
There
to me
must be a
because
system to punish them and do certain
I'm saying
But
this
as
is
me-
personal to me because I witnessed it
Exactly.
one off. You know, I witnessed it.
I
firsthand.
personally handle a lot of cases, same thing happening,
But-
private.
But Mr. Bopagi, I think there's one huge question that wasn't really raised during this whole exchange, and that is that for whatever the government wants to give the people free, or whatever the government wants to do for the greater good of everyone, the government needs money. So when you propose that businesses, a majority of the businesses in the country, shouldn't be run based on profit, it should be done for the betterment of everyone, and when you propose health sector, health, education should exclusively be run by the state, non-profit, for the betterment of everyone, how do you propose the government, also Sri Lankan government now in a state of bankruptcy, gets the money to do all of this?
Now, don't think this health, public health and public education is a privilege. That is a right from the very inception of our life.
There's no debate there.
We are paying taxes. People are paying taxes.
So, but the whole issue is the taxes are not enough now. That's the
You
problem.
can increase taxes.
Especially when the businesses
People
are
are
in
paying
this
taxes. At the same time,
world, there are
majority
no
of the
businesses.
workers in this country, 8.5 million workers of this country, they are day to day they are working. They are earning for the government. So they all work. What the government had to do to manage this money, which they were unable to do. Who's responsible? Now, people who are unable to manage that, now saying the privatization is the solution. No, the solution is eject them out and implement a new system.
Great. So I want to end today's discussion giving 3 minutes each for each speaker to sum up and rebut the points that was brought forward. So let's start off with Chennai or Ratna Vadivel, Central Committee member of ITAC. You get 3 minutes.
Yes, as a person representing the Northern East, I would like to, regarding the economic collapse of these matters, there is not enough interest shown in foreign direct investments in the North and East. There are a lot of people who are diaspora, Tamil diaspora, who are interested in coming and investing money in their own regions. But that would be that those are the investors who will be genuinely and sincerely investing the money for the benefit of the people in the region, because that is their place of birth, and that is they still have links to the people in that area. But the government is not doing anything, and with flimsy excuses. They are tigers. I mean, not only the government, but even the people in some opposition parties, they blame and all that. So that should be streamlined. I think there should be enough initiative for inviting and for attract those investments from the diaspora diaspora to invest in money in the country, in their regions or wherever. So with that note, I would like to end this.
Thank you very much, Chinay Rathawadivel, Central Committee member of ITAC. I now move my attention towards Dr. Ajit Amarasinghe, Chairman of the United Republic Front.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you, after. I want to give equal opportunity so we
I
can
think
split ideas.
we have to again remember the topic of this discussion. It is no justice for bankruptcy. I think I will limit my conclusion on this particular topic. I think we were discussing many other things. Now this country went into bankruptcy after 2019. And there are many factors which led to this, and there are many people who are responsible. It's not only the politicians, they are officers of the government, they are cronies the crony businessmen who are with them, who are responsible for this particular bankruptcy. Now, due to the bankruptcy, it's the people who are suffering. People who are suffering, they are paying more taxes, they are paying more electricity bills, water bills, and the inflation has skyrocketed. They are paying more money on food. Malnutrition in the country has gone up. There are no drugs in hospitals, and the country is in a total mess. Now, if you want to come out of this mess, one of the most important things that you have to do is that you must find the culprits of this particular mess and punish them. As I said earlier, the only country which came out of bankruptcy is Iceland, which actually held people responsible for their bankruptcy and put them in jail. So what we propose is that the people should be bailed, and people who are responsible for this bankruptcy should be jailed. Unless and otherwise, this country will not move forward, because the same thing that happened would happen again and again. So at the moment we are seeing some kind of relief by means of having electricity, water and public transport running again, but the country is still in bankruptcy, and especially the youth and the intellectuals are leaving the country in thousands. And if this situation goes on for a longer period, this country would become a country which is beyond recovery. So something has to be done immediately. For that to be done, economic justice has to be brought in place, and not only that, afterwards the path for recovery you must decide as to what. Debt restructuring is only one aspect. Okay? The real path for recovery is to make this country a country which is industrialized and income generating. For that, we must have short-term and long-term plans. Our party has short-term and long-term plans. So, debt restructuring is only one part of the path for recovery. But in addition to that, we must develop this country agriculturally, industrially, and also in service wise. So that is the path for recovery, and to do that, we must actually brought people who brought this country into bankruptcy into books.
Right, thank you very much, Dr. Ajit Amar Singh. I now move my attention towards Attorney Abdul Wanbop again.
Yeah, actually today we discuss about the bankruptcy of the country. Now, even after lapse 1 year from the recent Aragale, now we are in a crucial juncture. Now the government is going to fully implement the IMF proposal. So if they are going to implement IMF proposal, it's very clear they have to fulfill main 6 requirements. One is the fiscal austerity, that is increasing taxes, then high interest rates, trade liberalization, privatization, open capital markets. Likewise, all these suggestions are detrimental to the people of this country. Therefore, having known that there might be other people uprising against this operation, it is clear the government is going to introduce draconian acts like ATA, then control the media. At the same time, there are various suggestions to amend the labor laws as well. So therefore, this situation is a very severe situation. People have to fight together to defeat this conduct of the government. At the same time, certain political parties, certain new movements are now coming to the scene by changing their faces, like happened in last 5-6 decades in this country. But their solution is the same thing, to maintain this uncouth system once again. And therefore, what I invite on behalf of the people of this country, we need a proper system change. We need to implement people-oriented just economy. In order to do that, we have to exercise people's power on the ground as we did the previous year. Therefore, let's organize through in various means and fight for our rights. Only that only you can even punish the culprits of this particular crisis. Because people who are now demanding to put them in jail, some time ago part of the members of the party that did the bond scam and who were blamed regarding call tenders. So now, just for the sake of power, now they are saying we are very good, we have a new idea, we are new wine, so let's change the system. That now they are proposing. But we have that experience, these all our friends, nobody will be punished under this system. They will form, instead of punishing them, near future they will form new governments, building coalitions. That is the experience we have. So therefore, once again, we should not be a part of this illusion. We need a system change. So let's build people's power on the ground. That's what I'm suggesting.
Attorney at law Nuwan Bopke. Last but not all the least, Harshan Rajkaran, member of SJB.
Yeah, we, the SJB, we believe that especially the decisions that took place in 2019, the Gotabaya Rajapaksa government put us to this sad situation where this country was bankrupt. And we strongly believe that there should be some accountability, and people who were responsible, whether it was the politicians or the officials, they should be taken to book. And we will continue the fight within Parliament and also in justice system within the Parliament as well as to the justice system. And also we would like the people in this country also to mention that we can't expect much from this Parliament, because this is the Parliament not long ago, a year ago, where most of them were rejected. Unfortunately, now again it's the same people who have got into the government and running the country. And we believe there should be a new mandate. And we believe the SJB has the right set of people, a good team led by a capable leader, honest leader. And we will keep fighting. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Harshan Rajkaran, Member of Parliament of the SJB. Dr. Ajit Amarasinghe, Chairman, United Republic Front. Attorney at law Nuwan Bopke, representing the Frontline Socialist Party, as well as Chinnaya Ratnavadiya, Central Committee member of ITEC. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening on Face the Nation. Thank you very much, Shania, for joining us this evening on Face the Nation, as well as Attorney at law Charlene Kevin Benedict for joining us tonight on the show. I leave you tonight with a quote, as I always do. Action requires focus and priorities, and these inherently require compromise and pragmatism. Take care and good night.